Hello, everyone.
Hey, was that music new? I feel like whenever I listen to the podcast, like your eardrums get blown out for like the first 10 seconds. You're like, must be,
Yeah, that's on
must be
purpose.
John's podcast.
That's on purpose. So this was actually a question that most people, I mean, unless you were involved in the scene, you wouldn't know what it is. That is a song by a California band known as the Hoodz.
No way.
Yes, so that was for you guys.
I love that. Oh, we got special intro music.
I don't know if you guys were in that band or not, but
no.
How cool would that be?
I wish we were though. we were in the family bluegrass band back in Kentucky that played like Wednesday night potlucks at the Baptist church. So that's what we were doing when we were 17.
Us and Great Uncle Owen and Great Uncle Carly. It was
but did it sound like that?
Band.
Did it sound like that?
No, it didn't.
It was not that metal. We were not that cool.
Okay, so today on the Nose, we have special guests, the Hood sisters, Amy and Jen. Or do you prefer Jennifer?
Jen. I mean, even just getting my name right's cool, so, you know.
See? We don't screw around on this. They are designers, branding, studio, etc. We will get into the details soon. And then, of course, we have Brent, the intern, here. And for those of you watching on YouTube, we also have the Hood sisters' attorney, which will monitor everything that we ask them and make sure that everything is okay. That is a visual joke. Sorry for people who listen to it on audio only. So we're going to kick off. And what I want to do is get just a quick, if you guys can do like a 30-second history of where you're from and how you got to here today.
Okay, go. Dad lost wallet in a courtyard. Mom found it. They met, got together. About 4 years later, we came along. Probably broke the budget. Parents split. Twins ruined life. Just kidding. So then we moved from California to New York to Kentucky, back to California. Started Hoodzpo because we were at this print shop that folded, couldn't get hired anywhere. So we were like, we'll just freelance. And then it just kept going. And we were working for friends and family for really cheap rates for a few years. And then slowly kind of just kept asking questions to figure out how to do it better. And 10 years later, here we are, right with you on this.
Working for Disney, baby.
Nice. Very nice. Very nice. Wait, hold on. Consult with your attorney if you're actually allowed to tell them that you're working with them.
I don't know if that was in the contract. Did we get a console to be able to name drop Disney?
The Disney contracts are longer than the projects.
Oh my gosh. The process, I was like, are we going to make the deadline? Like, I wasn't sure.
They're like, we need it in 2 weeks, but the contract will take 3 weeks to sign. So.
Right. Yes, exactly. And that is exactly how it works. Okay, so ready? You guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay. So I am not a twin. You two are twins.
Pete Davidson isn't your twin?
Jury's still out. Now, Brent is also a twin.
Damn.
Yes. So we have a lot of genetic anomalies happening right now.
So. Yeah.
Wait, what did you say, Brent?
Yeah. My twin's
Is it a girl
not
or a
creative,
boy?
Though.
Okay.
We're fraternal, though, so.
Yeah. So are we, actually.
Everyone in Brent's family kind of looks alike anyway, though.
Really? Hey, some families are like that. Just strong genes, you know?
Yeah. Is that what that is? Is strong genes?
I don't know. Some dominant gene is just like powering through the lineage.
Over and over and over and over again.
This is the nose you get, no matter what.
Aw. Don't tell my daughters that. So I have to ask the most annoying non-twin question. Did you guys wear the same outfits when you were kids?
Our mom made us. Till 6th grade, literally, we had to put our foot down in the Macy's like dressing room
It was
one year.
Dillard's.
It was Dillard's. We were like, Mom, we are getting ridiculed. We need to have our own wardrobe. And she was crying. It was like a big moment.
Yeah. I just remember that like this is when Jinkos were hot. It was like Hanson was at the top of the charts and Jinkos were hot. And I was just like, I gotta get a damn pair of Jinkos if it kills me. And so that's what broke the camel's back.
I mean, you could. I mean, I remember kids used to cut their regular jeans down the middle and then like sew bed sheets in between.
Oh, that's right, to make them wider.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like, how much can you hide your etnies like puffy shoes? Like that was like, that actually was like Airwalks back then, wasn't it?
Airwalks. Yeah. Brent doesn't know what any of this stuff is because he was born in 2006.
Hey, I had a pair of etnies.
You had etnies?
I had etnies, yeah.
Did you skateboard?
Canadian?
Canadian.
Yeah.
They were called Eight Knees.
They had like the arrow logo. It was like an arrow logo.
Yeah, that's what it was.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
Fucking shittiest shoes ever. All right, no more twin questions. All right, we're going to do, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to do a lightning round really quick, okay? This is a little bit of a warm-up, as I am a professional interviewer. I've done this all of 3 times. Okay, ready? Favorite quote from a TV or movie that you use over and over again?
I pooped somewhere in this room.
Nice, next.
What was that from? It's from Parks and Rec. Rob Lowe says it when everyone gets the flu.
Yeah, that's so
and
funny.
he's like, and then he looks in the mirror and he goes, "Stop pooping." What's yours, Jim?
I'm going to the nut shop where it's fun. I don't know. We always say that. It's from You've Got Mail. the guy gets annoyed and he just goes, "I'm going to the nut shop where it's fun." I just think that's so funny.
We did say it if anyone's being a drag.
Yeah. Nice. All right. Favorite bad movie. And this is quick. You don't have to think about it. Just
okay. Big Trouble in Little China.
That's what I was going to say too.
oh, interesting. Okay. Favorite good movie.
Oh no. Oh, what about In Bruges? Have you guys ever seen that?
No.
Oh, it's so good. It's like really indie. Like this is indie points for me.
Oh,
really good.
So annoying.
Yeah.
I only watch
blockbusters.
It's actually really good.
It's like the minute you hear someone say it's produced by A24, you're like, yeah, I haven't seen it.
Ooh, I am into A24 stuff.
Dude, they're so good.
They're good stuff, but it's
Hereditary?
like most of it I can't handle. It's too scary.
Yeah. I have like 14 copies of the Witch script book.
Really? That movie was messed up.
Yeah, people keep getting me the book and I refuse to give them up. So I just have like multiple copies of them.
Nice. That's hilarious. Such a random collection.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good. Okay, wait. Jen, what's yours?
Oh shit. I don't know. Like Saving Private Ryan. It's a good
wow,
movie. I was just talking about it the other day. I don't know.
Okay, so out of those 3 movies, which one's actually the best?
Big Trouble in Little China. It's the one you watch over and over again.
Oh, it's so rewatchable.
That's what I feel.
Kurt Russell. You can do no wrong.
Yeah, I agree, I guess. Breakfast, lunch, or dinner, there is a wrong answer.
Breakfast.
Wow. Brent, what do you got?
Yeah, breakfast.
Fuck you guys. I'm lunch all day.
What do you think?
You could do
Dinner?
everything at lunch. Lunch is an everything meal.
That's true. Lunch can be dinner or breakfast. That's
It's
true.
flexible. Okay.
It is flexible.
This is not an artist or a designer. Favorite creative person.
Oh. Okay.
No.
What's coming to mind is like Tina Fey, because like whatever she touches turns to gold. She has the Midas touch.
Right.
But there's got to be some other answer.
I got a quick story for you.
You know Tina Fey?
I don't know her. However, I have bathed with her.
What? Go on. We're listening.
I mean, not technically bathing. I mean, when we vacation in Cape May, New Jersey, sometimes at the beginning of the summer, and we go at the same time to the same hotel every year. So we're always in the swimming pool together at the same time.
And
That's
okay, what kind of
crazy.
celeb sighter are you? The kind that pretends you don't see them to respect their space, or the kind that's like, hey, appreciate what you did, or the fawner?
No, what I am is the kind where I get insulted if they don't recognize me.
You're like, you don't know me?
Yeah.
I'm big in conference circles with
Yeah.
designers. Which is such a funny fake fame.
I have
I don't mean
hundreds
that
of-
against you. I just mean it's just a funny thing
Yeah.
that like,
Oh, yeah.
there's like perceived like famous.
Yeah.
Oh, totally.
creatives,
No,
you know?
I walk into that place like I own the place. I see Tina Fey. Psh, what do you ever do?
Goodbye.
That's hilarious.
What,
I know,
Jen?
I
What
miss-
do you got? Wait, did Jen? No, Amy, you said
Yeah.
Tina Fey, right?
No, what do I got? Famous favorite creative. The weirdest shit's coming to mind, but like Martha Stewart. I don't know. I'm
Nice.
just like, the woman can do anything.
It's
She
true.
survived jail. She rebranded herself. Like, I just find her so like fascinating.
She's Snoop Dogg's best friend.
Like,
Like,
I just think that like for someone who can constantly reinvent themselves, that's the ultimate creativity. I think she did it.
How do you think
Wait,
that
who's
she's
New Dog?
Snoop Dogg?
Snoop Dogg.
Snoop Dogg. Oh,
Snoop
I think you said New Dog.
New Dog?
I want to know who New Dog is.
Give me
could
that
be
new
your
dog.
new brand. We could rebrand you, Brent.
How do you think that Martha Stewart survived prison?
Oh,
That I know.
it's like, did she make someone her bitch, or was she the bitch? I think she made others her bitch.
You think she walked in, she was like, I'm going to pick the biggest motherfucker
you have
here.
to. Yeah. If there's anything TV's taught us, that's it.
That's step one. Step one is surviving prison. Or like have lots of cigarettes, or like, she has so much money though.
She had the cell phone. She obviously had the direct line out. So
yeah, that's it. That's it. Solved. Okay. All right. So lightning round is done. I think we got all the information we need to know about you guys. So now we can.
Okay, I have a lightning round question.
Yeah.
Okay, for you, John, and both of you, actually. Okay, have you seen You Can't Kill David Arquette or something? What's it called?
Oh, the documentary.
Yeah. Okay, because this is the weird association that I make, and tell me if I'm right, that anyone who likes metal likes WWE, right? Those things go together.
I find that really offensive.
I'm offended.
But
was that a bad stereotype?
I mean, it's kind of accurate.
Accurate.
I'm not going to say I didn't grow up watching wrestling, because I did.
So I'm right.
Yeah. I mean, Brent,
so
I don't know.
Movie. I've had it on my Hulu list for so long. I need to watch it. I love David Arquette, just like from like Never Been Kissed. He's the most brilliant person in that movie, which is also a great movie and also very wrong in many ways. But yeah.
That's the movie you picked for David Arquette. That's great.
Yeah. No, I don't forget Friends. Forget everything else he's done.
Right,
that was his pinnacle moment.
Oh, man. Brent, did you ever watch wrestling as a kid?
Yeah. I grew up. Bret Hart went to the same high school as
Canada.
my dad, so.
Went to the same high school?
Yeah.
Oh, wait. I knew that.
Yeah.
I did. We talked about this already.
But Canada is like a gold mine for famous people. I mean, they all come down here eventually, but it's like you guys really read them right,
I don't think you listened to the last episode there, Jen.
I was just going to say, I've listened to the previous episode, and there's a big to-do about this.
15 minutes covered.
Yeah, we talked about how many celebrities have actually come from Canada, and we realized it's only 11.
But they are the pinnacle of celebrities, like Celine Dion. I mean, come on,
Brian Adams. I think
Brian Adams.
Canadians have the soft rock market cornered. They do.
What a market to corner.
If you're gonna get in music, you either have to get into soft rock or country, because those fans will love you forever. Whereas anything else, you're only relevant for a year, and then you are yesterday's trash. So it's like, if you want longevity, soft rock is the way to go.
But what about Drake?
Okay, right.
But he also, this is the crazy part about soft rock, is they'll play Drake. They'll play like some of his songs. Like those stations. Interesting. Yeah. He is on a cusp. That's kind of fascinating.
Yeah, Justin Bieber.
They'll play the Biebs. Oh yeah, they'll play the Biebs. Yeah, he does span a few different. Yeah.
My 2-year-old likes Justin Bieber, and it really bothers me.
You know what I'm interested in? How was he exposed to it? A 2-year-old can't just hear that by themselves. So obviously you or someone played it at some point.
No, she knows how to operate the Apple TV.
Oh, okay.
No, that's not true. No, I think my wife played it for her, because my 2-year-old really likes to dance. So she was like, I got it. And then she played that Yummy song. And it sounds like a baby sings it. So it works.
That's the worst one to play. That's by far the worst Bieber song, but hands down. It's
absolutely terrible. I every single second that it's on, it ruins my life a little bit more.
Did you guys hear that he's trying to take over? Which church is he a part of? Like Hillsong? Because their leader got ousted because like he cheated on his wife or something. Because all those hot celebrities go to his church. So obviously, what did they think was going to happen? So anyway, and apparently they were holding like their church meetings like in hotel rooms because it was so exclusive. And I'm like, this was a recipe for disaster. Like
secret meetings in hotel rooms with hot celebrities.
Like, what did they just thought he could come out of that unscathed? Like, I don't know. So anyway,
he's a mere mortal. Like, we can't hold him to too hard a standard.
But I am just a man.
So now Justin Bieber was like, I'd like to take over this church. And I was like, dang.
I have so many problems with that. I don't even know where to begin.
So do I. It's crazy. I'm like,
I don't know. But that's the crazy part about getting famous, is you all of a sudden think you're right about everything and that you know everything because everyone's told you yes for the last 10 years.
It's true. Whenever I go on vacation with Tina Fey, I don't remember ever being wrong.
It's the best, like, casual comment to throw in.
Brent's famous in Alberta.
Yeah, I'm famous in Alberta.
Are you?
Yeah.
Do people stop you?
I don't leave my house, but when I do, it's a problem.
It's a problem.
It's a problem.
He has issues getting coffee.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
John, have you ever been stopped though? Because it is weird. I have been stopped. It actually happened to me one time on a date. And you want to talk about the coolest power move on a date? Yeah. Like I was on a date and someone came over, this sweet girl. She's like, I'm so sorry, but like, are you Amy Hood? And I was like, yeah. And I was like, what have been served? I was so like, what did I do? And then she was like, oh my gosh, I just love your work. And the guy that I was with was just like, what? And I was like, yeah, it's no big thing. It's just.
Have you ever been stopped and you were like, oh my God, are you Jen Hood?
You're like, no.
It was like,
oh my gosh.
No, sorry.
Like, the weird thing is I never get recognized, but people are always like, are you so-and-so? And they always think that I'm someone else. Like, I just look like a lot of people.
Oh, like
and I'm like, no, but maybe you know my sister. They're like, no.
That's so strange. That is really strange.
But I mean, you've seen people in California. We kind of all look the same.
Yeah, I guess that's why you guys moved there, right?
We're prefab California.
Right.
You ship someone a box and it comes with these pieces that you assemble.
I mean, that's good. You guys got like 2 for 1. That's a good deal.
Oh my goodness.
One time, it's definitely happened to me a lot. I think because I did, oh God, this was like 10 or 11 years ago now. I had like this one like short, like mini documentary thing that a film guy did on me. And it got like some kind of like viral traction. And then ever since then, like people who like never were into design or whatever would recognize me. So it like actually happens a lot. And I remember one time I was walking down the street in Manhattan and 2 guys walked past me. They were like, oh my God, that was John Contino. That was John. And I was like, oh shit, I heard that.
That's crazy.
That's trippy. That's so funny. Oh
I really like it when it happens. I never not enjoy it.
Oh, it's so fun. You're just like, what? You care about me?
Yeah.
Are you sure? I'm always like, you're sure. Like,
Yeah.
huh. Okay.
My wife's favorite thing is that I'm on a website called famousbirthdays.com.
What? That's hilarious.
That's funny.
Yeah, and she was like, well, of course. I mean, you're on famousbirthdays.com.
Oh my gosh. That's funny because like my favorite websites are like IMDb, and then second to that is called Who's Dated Who.
No, and third to that is the one that tells you celebrities' heights. I'm fascinated by how tall celebrities are because I'm like, that guy is. What were you saying? Someone the other day was like, there's no such thing as 5'11" because if someone's 5'11", they're going to say they're 6 foot.
Yeah.
And if they're 5'8", they're going to say they're 5'10" or 5'11". You know what I mean? But
Come
like,
on.
no one just says 5'11".
No one, but don't you?
I always say 5'11".
Really?
I love
so
your
you're brutally honest.
Because
Okay, so
because I won't say 6 foot because someone will call me out on it and then I have to backtrack and be like, well, I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So I keep it real. But in talking about height and Canada simultaneously, my wife and I have been and California. Look at this. My wife and I have been rewatching Beverly Hills 90210 from the start.
Oh, that's hilarious. The OG one.
Yes. And Jason Priestley claims that he's like on the internet, it says he's like 5'8" or something. But then when he's standing next to like anyone who's like 5'4", they're the same height. So
right. Okay. To claim you're 5'8" in Hollywood means you're 5'4".
Right.
Doesn't he know you have to lie bigger?
Right.
Wait, Brent, how tall are you?
5'9", 5'10".
Okay.
Pick one.
5'9",
But that's
probably.
Like I was gonna say all American, but it's all Canadian average.
Yeah.
But it's also all American.
Yeah.
Okay, but speaking of rewatching 90s TV, I love rewatching 90s TV.
Mm-hmm.
I've been rewatching Step by Step. Do you remember it?
No, because the song will put me into like a suicidal trance.
No, that's what I was just gonna say. The song like is my favorite. I'm pretty sure like because we grew up really sheltered, and I'm pretty sure I learned about rock and roll from Step by Step.
the heavy metal band that wrote the theme song to Step by Step.
I'm positive. I was like, what is this? Is amazing. Oh my goodness. It's like Bryan Adams wrote it or something. Like it's like just it's a little bit rock. I love Bryan Adams.
I mean, do you guys like the Full House theme song then? I'm assuming.
He wrote that too. It's the same guy.
Really?
He wrote all of them. He's like he wrote the soundtrack to our youth.
I mean, it sounds exactly the same, so I guess
they sound the same.
They are.
I get them mixed up.
And
all the
Family
time.
Matters. He did Family Matters too.
Yeah, I mean, he had like a series deal with ABC, I guess, at the time.
Yeah.
I woke up to a rerun of Full House once, like playing, and the theme song was on there. I instantly like was nauseous. like instantly. It never bothered me before, but it like woke me up out of a deep sleep, and I was like, "Oh Jesus Christ!" And I almost
something happened to you. Like you tried to like hit on your crush when you were watching that show when you were 7. Like something happened to traumatize you, because this is like everybody agrees this is just heartwarming television.
It's not for me. Give me the witch.
Have you guys seen the Netflix rerun or like reboot? I guess
Fuller House.
That kind of stuff pisses me off.
Step
I'm
by
like,
step by step again.
Yeah, okay, but I would watch Step by Step if it came back, because I was in love with Cody. So
I heard
would
that
watch
Cody
that.
was a domestic abuser, though. Is that true?
No. I see. This is why you can't. This is why I love looking up celebrities, but I also hate it, because you never want to know who they really are.
I mean, it might
like,
not be true.
Like, you know all that Army Hammer stuff that's coming out? How he's a cannibal?
Yeah.
Okay, first of all, do you guys think it's true?
Better question, are you interested?
Like, the crazy part to me is I'm like, this is the craziest rumor, but I saw somebody on TikTok was like, if you think that all actors aren't like this, you don't know actors. And I was like, that's crazy. He's like, Tom Hanks, all of them.
Hollywood
like, this is just
filled with cannibals. Yeah.
Just full of like weirdos, like that have never been told no and think they're God.
I'm into it. Yeah. I mean, why not? Why not? I mean, Tina Fey was gnawing on my elbow at the pool that one time. I thought it was cool.
Hilarious. Oh my God.
Brent, should we do the hot minute with questions?
Yeah. Do you want to?
I'm ready. Are you guys ready?
Okay, let's let's do this one first. Which coast is the best?
Wait, I think people actually hate that, so I'm going to do it more.
I love it.
Which coast is the best?
Oh man, I mean, I think if you can get on first of all, I just love either coast. We grew up in upstate New York, which I know most people say doesn't count, but I think it counts. It counted for me. And but I do love California, because like you can be like, if we go outside, it's probably like 65 degrees, but we can see the mountains behind our house and they're covered in snow.
Yeah.
Like, cool.
If you caught me on any other day, I would just tell you to shut up and mute your mics and just be like, East Coast. But like we just got dumped like 4 feet of snow and it's like 6 degrees outside and I hate my life. So I'm not going to argue it today.
Yeah, we heard about that. You guys are like, somebody said it was like dire, life threatening, like 2-day snowing.
Yeah. I hit the supermarket before with my PPE gear and all that shit, and I got my bread and my milk, and we're good to go.
Dang.
Yeah.
Dude, but Brent, we have a friend who lives in Saskatoon, and he sends us videos because they come up here and like do their vacations here. And his name's Steve at Hardbreast, and him and his wife, they send us these videos of like, he's like, if you go outside for 4 seconds right now, you'll get frostbite. But they never complain. But you hear our newscasters, they're like, 2-day snowstorm. It's dire. Everyone could die. And then Canadians are just like, yeah, it's about -40.
Forget about like New York snow complaining. Like mutual friend Neri Rivas and of all of us, I talked to him and he's like, dude, it's like 58 degrees outside. This is miserable. And I'm like, I fucking hate you.
I know, we have the heat on. We're insane.
Yep. That's hilarious.
But Brent, which coast are you on, or are you in the middle? Where are you at?
Alberta. So yeah, like kind of right next to BC, I guess.
Okay.
He's right above Montana.
Where is BC?
So neither coast, really. I'm kind of just in the middle of Canada, but
you're like the breadbasket. Okay.
You're kind of west, I guess, but we're nowhere near.
Some might call it the best part of Canada. Most won't.
Most say nah.
And that's from your experience knowing one Canadian.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about this on the show before. I've done Google Maps of his neighborhood.
That's hilarious.
I'm right.
That's so funny. Here's the thing that I always hear from Canadians when they're trying to sell you on Canada. They're like, but have you been to Banff? That's like the go-to.
I hate that because it's just like the only attraction site or whatever.
What's Banff?
It's like a tourist mountain
resort. It's like the most gorgeous like mountain scene you've ever seen.
It'd be like going to Yosemite or something, but their version.
Reykjavik, Iceland. Like that, it's their Reykjavik.
I got you. I got you. Yeah. I don't give a shit about mountains at all. Like when people are like, "Oh, the mountains," I'm like, I don't care.
When your friends used to ask you, like, "Hey, should we go on a hike?" Like you're like, "Nah."
No one ever asked me to go on a hike in my life.
The idea of thinking of like New Yorkers hiking cracks me up. Like, they do it every day. It's just to get to work and shit, you know? Like
oh man. All right, let's keep it rolling, Brent.
Okay. What are some of the challenges or advantages of working together as siblings?
Oh, see, now this is a good question because how do you guys not kill each other?
Right. But here's what I think. Okay, because John, you worked. Have you always have business partners?
No, on and off, here and there.
But I would say, and tell me if you agree with this. Like me and Jen always talk about like how like all the greatest things seem to have like partners involved. Like when you think about the SNL writers, they write with comedy partners, and there's so much value in having someone to bounce ideas off of, and to just say like, oh no, I don't see that, and that doesn't read well at all. So it's like you got to find your built-in like sibling or business partner or whatever. Even if you're like a freelancer, you got to find someone that you can text something to, and they can give you some advice. Because I don't know.
Yeah, my old studio and the clothing company we used to run, my partner Matt, he and I were like brothers because we spent so much time together. So it was just like I saw him all day, every day, and then I would see like my wife sometimes.
Yeah.
And then my wife breaks my chops all the time because she's like, "Who are you texting?" She's like, "Wait, Brent?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, you too." And then I'm like, "I'm not even his friend." And she's like, "Yeah, you're best friends." And then Brent tells me that we're best friends, and I tell him, "No, definitely not."
But that's a New Yorker's way of saying I love you, right? That is a New York I love you. It's like the more mean you are to someone, the more close you are.
Yeah, that's accurate. I better pull back on the meanness then.
The way that John,
it's schoolyard rules for sure.
The way that John invited me over to his house was telling me that his wife asked if I was going to come over, and he said no.
There's no like, hey, you want to come over? It's kind of like when you're kids and you're like, my mom said you could come over for dinner if you want.
Yeah.
Brent came all the way to New York from wherever the fuck he lives, and I couldn't meet up with him because we had to go pick out a countertop for the kitchen.
Oh my gosh, you picked IKEA over Brent.
No, not IKEA. Come on now.
Excuse me.
All right, what else we got, Brent?
How to stand out when it feels like the industry is too saturated.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I was just thinking about this. Okay, so we just did a project for a dentist. Now that sounds like the most boring. That sounds like the most boring thing ever, right? But it's like you can stand out so much better if you turn something that seems boring to everybody into an exciting project. So it's like I find that much more exciting than like, oh, another super cool restaurant that is like, it's so hard to top that because there's so many cool restaurants. Yeah. So it's like pick something where the bar is so low.
That makes you sound like such an asshole though. You're just like, oh, another super cool restaurant.
But I mean, we know it's true though. Like it's actually so hard to do something new in the restaurant space because like the people are doing insane things and people have insane amounts of money, and most of my clients don't have that. So it's like when I like talk to our students or anything like that, I'm like, pick something that seems really boring, that where if somebody's like, you made that cool, it actually like helps you stand out and people are more likely to share it, you know, or more likely to just stop and take notice.
I like that. Yeah, I'm with that. I agree.
Well, someone wrote back because we just shared it on our newsletter and they were like, yes, this is a great example of branding, not blanding, which I thought was really funny. But because, I mean, pun aside, it's true that so much of branding right now it's just like all the same, and it's hard to tell the difference between anything, which I guess in some ways makes it very like evergreen, and I get the idea behind it, but at the same time it's just never going to be what we do. It's like no one will be like, you know what, I need a minimal corporate logo, let's go to Hoodz.
I always wonder why like we don't get minimal corporate logos, and then I feel like the answer's right in front of me.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You like go to your website. By the way, your website is so good.
Oh,
I love how when you hover over it, the animations and the videos play and stuff. But
I appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you guys. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it's so good.
But I think you can do like as far as like restrained, because I've been trying to do practices and restraints, like the Bucks stuff is like a perfect example.
Oh yeah,
you guys
we actually have a lot of restrained stuff that is gonna be case studies soon. But I've been trying to go more towards that to like show people the flexibility that we can do, you know? So like when the Bucks stuff came, I was just like, let's go in the opposite direction. Let's no hand drawn. Let's just go big and bold and kind of like loud and clean, you know, just to because especially like, I don't know, 2009, 2010, when everyone was trying to make me draw anchors and shit. It was just like, I was like, I'm never going to have a job again after this if this is all I'm drawing. And I spent like years just being like, don't make me do this. Don't make me do this. Yeah. And you have to, it's so funny. You work so hard to get to a point, and then you work so hard to get away from that point.
It's true. That's so funny because I remember, because of course, like we grew up loving your work and stuff too. But for a while there, people were calling us, "Oh, those hand-drawn girls," and I was like, full body shiver. Right. Like, please don't call me that, because the connotation, it's almost like saying you have a course, which we do have a course. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, there's certain words where I'm like, there has to be another word for this because it's been co-opted, and the meaning now means like calligraphy instead of or something, you know what I mean? Or like you said, like everything has to be a hand-drawn anchor, and they don't realize that there can be shades of gray. Yeah, I also really hated the term letterer that people would use, because I'd be like, yo, I don't work in comics, like that's that's a job already, and it's not what I do. Yeah. The bummer for me is like I've started using a lot of words wrong because I want SEO to help people find us for what they think it's called, but it's not called that. But I'm like, but I know that this is what they're searching for. You know what I mean? Fuck the internet forever. It's just, it's awful. Let's see.
What do you look for when it comes to interns contracting work?
What I look for in interns is excitability.
I'm not excited
about this. What do we look for? Yeah, I mean, definitely just someone that you kind of have a good rapport with. Like you can tell like you would be able to work easily with them. And I think number one, making sure that they don't have a sense of entitlement, because so many young designers are like, oh, I don't want to do that, when you try and give them work. And you're like, I'm sorry, I thought you told me like a week ago that you wanted to do something and you would do anything to do any project with us. And now I'm like handing you one and you're saying that's not what you want. Like neither do I, but I'm still taking it to make money. So, if I can do that, maybe you can too. And it's just like, that's how life works. You don't always do what you want. Like sometimes you do things to pay the bills or because that that'll be good for something else down the road. I just think it's really funny when people assume that every job is the fun job. They're always like, how do I do the fun stuff? Yeah. And you're like, well, just be real with yourself that probably 20% of it will be fun. And then it's okay if the other stuff isn't, but it pays for the fun stuff. And that's what we've found is there's a lot of stuff that we do that we don't show on our website, but it pays well. And then it funds the stuff that we do really enjoy showing. And the people are cool. It's like, it's like, a crazy style may not work for everybody, but if your client is super cool and they're paying you well and it does something awesome for them and they can make a living off of it, awesome. Yeah.
It's funny. I try not to compliment Brent, so I'll try not to. But when he first started with me, he literally was like, "I will do anything." So I gave him a spreadsheet to do, and he did it. Yep, and he did it.
Yeah, but Brent, you did it.
Yeah, he did it. Yep.
I still do those kinds of things. For sure.
And I do those kinds of things. I think that's the funniest part is they think that we're not also doing this, like. Right. Like John Contino would never do a spreadsheet.
Right. Oh man, I wish people said that.
That is the perception, is that you guys are just working on, I guess, like the projects that you guys put out, right? Like everyone just thinks that's what you do all day.
Right.
Right.
That'd be horrible.
We're practicing a little thing called positioning and branding, where it's like we show what we want to get, So and that's kind of what we tell them. We're just like, hey, if you can help me out and do all these little things, like eventually, you will be able to work on the fun stuff. I'm just looking for someone who's just like ready to jump in, get their hands dirty, and they don't really care what they're working on. They just want to be helpful. That's usually what I'm looking for when it comes to interns. And then for contractors, it's usually more like that their skill has to be like, specific to what I have to match for the style of the client, Yeah. But I will always try out a contractor on something that I don't have a lot of risk and even reward in, something like that doesn't really matter first. So it's like, if they aren't cool about like the little thing, then I probably won't use them again on the big thing that I need later.
Right. Because trustworthiness is so important, because it's like for me, like for so long, and I've only started doing this recently, is letting go a little bit, because if someone fucked me, I would just be like, I need to know that I can do this, like on a Sunday night, because they dropped the ball and they didn't do it. So now I have to do it. So like, I tried not to take stuff that I knew I couldn't do, but like, over time you meet people, you get a good relationship with people, you see what they're capable of, you see if they actually care enough to actually put the work in, and then you're like, okay, now I can give this to you, and I know that you'll get it done when I ask you to get it done.
Totally. That's what you spend like 5 years of your business doing, just trying to find anyone that you can trust and then holding on for dear life once you find them, it's like, I feel like that's part of growing your business is just like finding people you can trust to help you finish a project.
Well, and it's the same on the client side. So it's like, if you can be that to any client, someone they genuinely enjoy working with and just like deliver stuff on time, it doesn't even have to be the best. If you deliver on time and they like you will always be busy. Right. And I think that's the crazy thing that a lot of freelancers or self-employed people don't even get is you don't have to be the best. Don't even worry about that.
Right.
Like,
that'll give you ulcers.
Yeah, that'll give you ulcers, just like do the best you can and then just deliver it on time.
I always say that like I am not the best designer, but I feel like I'm the best at talking to clients and just communicating and all that stuff. I just like, I have no problem. I will talk about whatever, wherever, walk them through whatever they need. I feel so good about that. And then doing the work is just doing the work, but like, it's so much about relating to the client and making that relationship and like the types of situations you get in with them and how you can just like hang with them when you're not in crazy mode. Can you be cool on the side too,
Yeah. And it's like, of course, there's always those awkward moments where you have to, like, they're trying to get out of scope or whatever. But it's like, when you finally learn how to speak with them just as a human, like, oh, that's no big deal. Like, yeah, we can extend the scope and just like talking it out normally instead of being like, you're going over scope and that's not cool and you're not respecting. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like, cool, we'll just add on an extra budget for that. Like treating it casually instead of like, constantly like
the end of the world,
like. There's just a way to just deal with people and just give them the benefit of the doubt without letting them walk all over you.
Totally.
Because there's also a huge part of the learning curve that's just learning to set boundaries with your clients to make them into ideal clients. Because it's like they'll only go so far as you allow them. So it's like, if they become the client that's texting you all their changes in the middle of the night, that's a boundary that you forgot to set up at the beginning. You know what I mean? So it's like usually there's a hole in your process somewhere if people are kind of taking advantage that far.
Right. And I have another question later on towards the end, which is kind of like a longer form type of thing. But that's what I've appreciated from you guys over the past few years of like really following you and knowing what you guys do and everything, is that you actually have like a human personality, which I think is good, which I think lacks.
We're not robots.
Yeah, like in our industry, we have a severe lack of personality. Which is ironic because this is where you would expect to be the most personality, where you're like making exciting shit. But like we have like our robot people that do robot things over and over again, and then the robot people who follow them and appreciate their robot way of life. And it's
hilarious.
It's just so frustrating because it's just like, just be a person. Talk to somebody the way you would at a deli or at a fucking block party or something. I don't know if they have those.
But that's probably one of the things that blew my mind early on. When we first started, I had this idea that like, we have to hide the fact that we're only two people working out of our bedroom. Right. But we didn't share a bedroom. I want to be clear that when we were,
beds. Do you guys have bunk beds?
We didn't still have bunk beds.
We're sharing a laptop just in the middle.
Wait, hold on. Wait, hold on. You're sharing a laptop right now.
Okay, just right now. Well, anyway, let me revise. We were in our apartment trying to pretend like we had a studio. Like we moved all of our desks to this one side of our house, and we took over the living room and just like made it look like a studio, but we're just working out of an apartment. And I remember we just used to think we had to put up the facade that we were this big agency, and we were like, we're going to hire 10 people and, we have to do all this. And then we realized like that defeats the whole purpose of the glory of working for yourself, is having to keep hours and like, have an office that you have to go unlock at 7 a.m. No thanks. So we just realized you can make it work for yourself, and clients don't actually like care that much as long as you're a real human that they can relate to. You do quality work. And you are professional to a certain extent. Yeah. But I think it's funny. We've never, ever had a phone number on our website, and people have never cared. It's like, it's interesting how it doesn't always have to be what you exactly think it does to do well as an entrepreneur or a small business.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. We have a phone number, and it gets used sometimes more than I would expect. And that's the
I'm shocked you put your phone number up there.
It's not my phone number. It's not a personal number.
I wanted to text it and just send some weird stuff.
It's so funny too, because a lot of people assume it's my cell phone number, and I'm like, no, I'm not giving you my fucking cell phone number.
But I love that because like you're testing who has the guts to call it. It's like everybody wants to help me. All right, who's gonna do it?
Yeah,
give me a call.
Yeah.
You're right. No one probably uses it. That's crazy.
And when people do use it, I'm like, oh shit, you must mean business.
Yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, clearly this person is over 60, probably in a C-suite. Interesting.
I don't know if I should share this. I'll share brief details. I got a phone call from someone over 60 from the South who was looking, I mean, it was a good idea. He said he was an inventor. He had an invention. It's a pretty good idea for what it is. And then he basically looking to see if I could dig up $1.5 million for him. And I was like, wouldn't have got this with an email.
That's hysterical. Wow. I love that he thought like you were like the money man. Like that you have friends that have millions.
He was like, I've seen you online. You look like you're a type of guy that can get things done. And I was like, I appreciate that.
I've seen you on famous birthdays. I know you have money. Don't lie to me. I know you have money.
I know you vacation with TFA.
Yeah, you said too much, John.
It's true. It's true. I gave it away.
You don't have an IKEA. You get your custom cabinets.
Your Italian marble. Okay, we know now.
All accurate.
That's so funny. I love that.
All right. Imposter syndrome and creative burnout.
Yes, and yes.
Exactly. Okay. The funny thing to me is like I go through phases of thinking like I am so good at this. Like I am like the best. Like I might be the best.
Right.
And then like that'll happen. That'll be for like 6 months. And then for 2 months, everything that I do is just trash. And like and I'm like, is this it? Like, cause I'm constantly worried that I'm going to like run out of ideas or age out or just not understand like what people want anymore.
Right.
Which is such a dumb worry, but it's part of the reason I got on TikTok. But that's neither here nor there. To stay relevant. Yeah, just to make sure I knew what people were talking about.
I've tried to use that app. I don't know what's happening.
Dude, at first you have to start liking things, but be careful what you like because then the algorithm it's wild. And I know you guys have a thing with algorithms.
Yeah, I got a problem with that.
You have to be very careful.
But it's just like video, right?
But it's so funny.
It's not about connecting with people you know. It's about finding utter hilarity in the wild happenings of complete strangers.
Yeah.
Tell me what's funny about TikTok because I don't see what's funny about it.
If you get the right videos, it's funny. It's just weird people like doing the weirdest shit. Like I get a lot of people who are just like they don't try at all. I think that's what's so random. You remember Instagram was all about trying really hard. Well, TikTok's all about like not trying at all, but trying really hard not to try at all. So it's like they're really dressed down, I'll say, and then they like just do weird shit, and I don't know, it's just strange. It's like watching America's Funniest Home Videos or something.
It's not like those weird like Instagram comedians where they you know what I'm talking about, like they're the same type of comedian where it's just like it's like a skit that they do with themselves over and over again. Is that
no, it is. Well, it is. If you don't like that, TikTok's not for you.
Okay, so I made the right choice.
Like this guy is called Nanny Ma, and he's like
he's
this
hilarious.
giant guy from the South, and he puts on these wigs and pretends to be Nanny Ma or his Annie, whoever. And because we're from Kentucky a little bit, it's so hilarious, and it's so just like low budget produced. But I just love that about it. It's like,
to be honest, some of it is funnier. It's like SNL style skits of like just like why daily life is kind of funny. You know, it's like. But then there's also just like the random like thirst traps from like weird like jocks, like there's just some like weird stuff on there for sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, that's all the internet is at this point, I think.
Big thirst trap.
I think I liked a picture of like a logo or something, and then all of a sudden my Instagram feed was inundated with just like various styles of thirst traps in reels and stories and carousel posts and all these different things, and I was like, oh, okay. Instagram is ruined.
Oh, I know. It is weird, like, because the only people who are using those Instagram reels are the people who are doing the thirst traps, which is like fine. Yeah. That's great for you. But it's like, that's the only thing that they're able to serve us. So it's like the algorithm doesn't know what to do. So it's like, I guess you get the dancing teenagers.
Here you go. And they all have the TikTok logo on it too. Yeah.
What we've got right now. As soon as people start making more stuff, we can tailor this better. But for now, this is what you get.
I think it's just like Instagram isn't made for that. Like, it's okay. You can't be good at everything. It's okay. Right. You know?
I know. Yeah, I know. It is kind of a bummer. It is a bummer when apps like try to just like be everything. That's what I worry about too, is like we're always trying to like remember like what we're good at, like why we started this. Cause it's like, everyone's like, you should do this, or you should do this, and you should do this. And it's easy to be like, should we?
I mean, we do that all the time. And like Brent and I are always just like, hey, we should do this. But then we do it. And then we're just like, hey, that was a lot of fun. We should do it more. And it's kind of nice. But the thing is we've realized, well, me more than Brent, because Brent wants to do everything all the time. And I always have to reel him in. But like, you have to like pick one thing and then just try to get good at it.
Yeah.
You know? And then if you can get good at it, great. And then if you know good at it, forget that ever happens.
No, totally. That's so true. Brent, are you one of those people who only needs like 4 hours of sleep?
No, I get like 8 to 9, I think.
Okay. Well, you're highly productive, but that's interesting. Okay.
Yeah, he's a piece of shit. I haven't slept in 3 months. I'm good. I don't even need it.
Oh my God.
I'm
Is this
like
just like
all the time,
that's
ready to
great.
go.
Oh.
I used to be like that. Like I used to just like go to bed at 2, wake up at 7, and just like rage. But now, and by that I mean work at the coffee shop and go to community college. But nowadays, man, it's so funny because like we have more time than ever, and I'm more tired than ever, like physically and mentally.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how people are investing in listening to new music. The last 12 months, I can't do it. I don't have the energy.
It's so funny. Like the entirety of 2020, I was so exhausted. I thought I had finally hit the point where I was old. But then I don't know if it's just kind of like the shift in political climate or the vaccine or like a little bit of ray of hope kind of coming in. Totally re-energized me. And I'm just like, I was up until like 3:00 in the morning last night, and I was up at like 7 this morning, and I exercised. I did 2 phone calls. I took the kids to play in the snow for an hour, and now we're doing this. And I'm like, I'm fucking ready. Like I'm good to go.
Yeah, no, that is hope. That is 100% hope. And that is so cool. I love that.
It feels good.
For me though, if I do 2 calls in a day.
That's bad news.
That's like when an old person's like on, you know, the
last legs
towards the end. Yeah, and then they're like, I'm feeling great.
Right. There's a second wind right before you go down.
Yeah. John's going down.
We're not going to make it to episode 50 because I'm going to die soon.
Dang.
Knock on wood. Brent, keep asking questions. Come on, look at this fucking guy, man. Like,
I was about to
Next one.
take a drink of coffee.
No.
No rest.
Would love to hear the different ways you each run your studios.
Now you can drink your coffee.
Oh yeah, I want to compare notes because I am very curious. Yes. And
what's your Mr. Burns hands?
Yes, I'm doing Mr. Burns fingers. Yes.
Yeah.
But I have so speaking of courses, because you have a course too.
I do.
And what is yours about?
Well, I have. Here's the funny thing. So I have a hand lettering course, which is like literally like from the history of typography to custom lettering. So it's really deep. And I also have a how to start and run a creative business course, which you guys have, which I haven't released yet because I haven't had time to actually film it. So I've only done it in person so far, and then you guys came out with yours, and I was like, "Fuck, I can't do this now."
You can. There's room for everybody.
I know how you feel. Like someone just released a pricing guide the other day, and I had already been planning to release like kind of like anonymous like pricing scope and examples, you know, just as like a resource.
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, I feel like I copied them, you know, even though it's like. You can't really think that way because it's like it's a whole industry. If everyone was like, "Oh, someone already made shoes, I can't make shoes," it's like we can't really, you know.
I got my one pair of shoes. I'm good.
We only get one brand of everything. That's another thing that I think young creatives who are starting a business think. It's like, oh, someone already has a studio that focuses on that, and that. It's like, yeah, there's always someone else doing what you're doing, but it's like you're going to bring your own spin to it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think it's so much about making something new. It's about combining the existing assets into a new combination. You know what I mean?
Well, how much are you guys charging for your course?
Okay, ours is like $450, or you can do payment plans.
Mine is $449.99.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Sorry, guys.
Step 1 to
take a hike.
Contino business course.
That's hilarious. But okay. So
it's interesting because it's like we're telling people from our perspective of what worked for us and like our unique life perspective and all that kind of thing. So there's definitely a value there. And I think it's all the things that we wish we knew, and we didn't really know how to hack into that information because we didn't go to college, because we just didn't have like the money for it. So it's like, I think these things are super valuable, even though course is the grossest word known to man.
Yeah.
But but as far as like running a studio, I always wonder how other people are doing it and like what I'm probably still missing out on in my process.
Oh,
you know?
Yeah, that's the $1 million question too, because it's like I've been doing this for so long, and the same thing. Like I went to college, but I didn't. Like I freelanced. I was already a freelancer by the time I went to college. So all my teachers were like, just do your freelance shit and you'll get a degree at the end. Like it wasn't like,
oh, that's incredible.
Yeah. Like it was just, it wasn't an art school. It was local. It was in Long Island. And it like the size of the art department was like the size of this studio. So like all the teachers and there was like 30 kids in the whole art. It was like small. So I just did my thing, and I took a bunch of figure drawing classes and shit like that. So by the time I left, I had a portfolio, but it wasn't from school. It was just my clients, and everything else I just kind of taught myself. So like when I work with people who come from agency backgrounds and stuff like that, and they know how to like develop business relationships and know all that, like I've done it just from literally just being like a charming Sicilian, like hey, like pulling my New York moves.
Yeah. So I understand the charm. She's an amazing woman.
That's hilarious. No, but that's so true. Yeah. And I mean, I feel like same with us. We just like to talk to people. So we end up meeting people. And it's like, if you're interested in other people, it's amazing what they tell you about themselves. And then they say they have a company idea. And then you say, oh, I actually know how to do logos and branding. Mm-hmm. And it's like, a lot of that is just stuff that it's not necessarily like something that you can teach. Although it is like soft skills is a whole section in our, like in our class and in our book.
And it's weird to put it into terms as simple as this, but it's like, notice things that your client likes and then bring those things up to them again to show you're interested. Like it's so weird to like put it into words. It almost sounds like you're being manipulative. It's like, figure out what they love and then use it to connect. No, it's like, sounds so like predatory, but it's not. It's like, just connect with them on things they care about. And then that builds like a trust and a rapport.
No, and, it's okay to be manipulative. It's okay. It's okay, really, because that's the whole. Like, I mean, you hate to say it, but what you're doing is sales. You're doing sales,
right?
So you have to be somewhat manipulative, and it's not. In the end, it's for their benefit, But you have to be able to connect with them somehow that they're going to respond to.
Right, that they're going to trust the solution you're trying to present to them.
Right.
Well, and that's probably the biggest thing we learned early on about running our studio is that it's not about pleasing the client 100%. Yes, you want them to be happy at the end, but if you run your whole process based on making them happy no matter what and doing whatever they want, then you're just constantly reacting and you're not guiding the process in a way that'll actually lead to a good outcome.
Right.
So we had all these projects go off the rails the first 2 years because we were constantly like, well, do you like this? I can do whatever you want. Just tell me what you want. Yeah. They don't know. That's why they're coming to you. Right. So it's like, you have to be more like a doctor where it's like, hi, I'm Dr. So-and-so. This is what we're going to do here. We're going to do X, Y, and Z. Right. And then you'll end up with this, this, and this. And, that's going to be great because it'll, achieve all these results, which is what you wanted. And you're kind of like leading them through in a way that helps them be like, oh, okay, I don't need to helicopter parent this person. Like they know what to do,
Yeah. And every client is different. The relationship, some people you can joke around with more, others you can't. Right. I have one client who I literally berate because that's just how he is. And my wife is always just like, you can't talk to him like that. And I was like, it's fine. It's fine. But like, that's how we, like, I'll tell him something and he's just so, like he gets so stubborn about an idea. And I'm like, no, don't, it's going to look like fucking shit. Don't do that. I'm telling you, I'm out of here if you do it. I'm at it, like I'll threaten him. Yeah. And he'll be like, all right. And it's cool, because like it all works out in the end. But like everyone has their own process and what they respond to best. And, like obviously like I'm not yelling at him, like he gets it. But like it's one of those things where it's like if I were to just kind of like, tap dance around whatever he's saying, we would never get anything done.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. No, that's so it. Yeah. but I do feel bad for like certain, I don't know, it's like it's hard to teach that stuff sometimes, and like all of that is like the intangible stuff that actually gets you the farthest. And that's like we're writing our second book right now, and we're trying to like winnow all those weird soft skill things down into like words, and like trying to like, you know, it's like weird conceptual stuff. It's hard to pin down.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is for sure. Brent, why don't we do that last question, and then I want to get into like one more after that, so that we can have a little bit of a discussion about it.
All right, where will Hoodspot be in 5 years?
Oh, still around, hopefully with more typefaces. And here's my main goal. And another shout out to Neri, but like we've been getting to do more like movie style logos or like title treatments, and it's been so fun. And you know, and I remember when I kind of like figured out that you were also working on them, and I was like, that's not fair. Like you can't just say that you're presenting options from us and John. Like what? That's not fair.
That's so funny too, because
like Kwame Brown going up against LeBron.
But like when I heard that you guys were working on it too, I was just like, fuck. I was like, because I am very raw and you know, and like aggressive with everything that I do, that even the stuff that's like softer still comes across kind of aggressively, and I'm like, it's not gonna fucking work. Like the godmother thing that you guys did.
Right.
Who do you think's getting that one across?
Oh my gosh. But it is funny. But one of my goals in 5 years for Hoodz is to have at least one title treatment like go through, and I can tell that it was like part of our idea that was used. Because I know it's more of like the way that they design is more of like, it's just like their animation department where it's like many people come with ideas and they blend a lot of different ideas. So it's like, who knows, maybe like 2 of your ideas and 1 of ours and like 3 of somebody else's ended up being the final.
Well, like the Greatest Showman is the perfect example, right? Like I thought I did really cool stuff. You guys did really cool stuff. But in the end, it was like, I don't know if it was like a producer or somebody like that who was just like, I threw this together. It's fine. And that's what they went with. Yeah. You know?
Right. I know. And like the tracking kills me. I'm like, no, there's like this giant gap between 2 letters. I forget which 2. But anyway, so you know what the crazy thing is? Everyone's like, I love the logo you did for Greatest Showman. Every time I see it, I'm like, I know them. And I'm like, it didn't make it. But at the same time, people, they can't separate the 2 when they see the case study. And I'm not going to, you know, work too hard to remind them that we did it.
You know, that's what's tough too, because you guys will do this, and I don't do it, and I'm not criticizing, but you guys will, because you did the work, and the work looks great. But like I try to avoid that conversation of just being like, oh, you did this, it's so cool, and I'd be like, yeah, kind of did. Like I did it.
Right. Well, at the beginning, we always say very clearly, unchosen concepts, but people don't read.
They don't read that much.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I tried on saying explorations. That's why it's not like the logo. It's like these were explorations, you know, but it's tough.
Does it bother you? Like to me, that still bothers, because I am extremely competitive with other people as I am with myself. So like if I were to do that, I would just be like, you fucking loser, you didn't win that. Not saying that you guys are, but like that's what I would say to myself. You know what I mean?
Well, I think to us it's like we work so hard on it. We don't want to admit the defeat and not be able to show it.
To us, it's the ego of not being able to show, but look at the cool stuff we made. Like, look how cool this is.
You're not wrong. Like, that's why I'll show that shit on like Instagram or something, but not as like a final case study. Because in my head, I'm just like, a final case study needs to be like, and I toy with this back and forth about like some shit sometimes that we'll design the whole thing and it exists for like a month, but then it folds. Like not because of us.
That kills me. You know? That kills me. Those are actually harder for me because those to me I feel like I failed in a way where I'm like, what, which obviously the branding is it's like one piece of the puzzle. Right. But it's hard when it's already seen as like a failure or like it closed. Like to me, those are harder to post about for sure.
There was one we did one like brewery, and we did the whole thing, the interior, the branding, the blah blah blah, whatever. I was getting emails and shit. Oh my god, I love this place. It's so cool. Blah blah blah. And then the owners just like had some internal whoever junior somebody or other just rebrands the entire thing. For no reason. And basically
so soon after?
Yeah. And then just like basically taking all the stuff I did and then just like vectorizing it and just like making things look really bad, you know, and then just kind of just redid the whole thing. And then that's what it was for like years. And I was just so mad at them, you know?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so rough. Oh my gosh. Do you ever, this is how vain I am. Do you ever worry that you, like, they paid you too much for the part that you did?
No.
And so, okay, for some reason, and I don't know if it's because I just grew up like with like more blue collar family or whatever, but I have this forever guilt of like, I'm like, but do they need more money to put into like marketing or like ads, or I don't know. I just get so worried that like.
How many times have you been walked all over by a client?
Oh, luckily not that many, because I have Jen to be like, it's too low. It's too low. But I'm like, I'm the Brent. I'm the one who's always like, this is going to be the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like, we have to take it on. And Jen's like, no, we don't have the time. It's not in the industries that we're trying to specialize in. It's not for, you know, they already have the logo and brand in place. It's just doing tertiary stuff. Like she's the voice of wisdom.
Yeah, you need that, because there's been so many times where it's just like, especially I started really, really young, and there were times where I would win somebody over. It's like 15 or 16 doing this for like 2 years or something. And someone would be like, I'll never ever forget. And I feel like I've mentioned it before, but I did work for somebody, and then he recommended me to like a local Harley Davidson retailer, and they needed like some ads, some bullshit stuff that I could have easily done even at 16. And I walk in there, and the guy's like, you? He's like, aren't you kind of young to be doing this? And I was like, I guarantee I'll do a better job than whoever else. And he just wasn't having it. He's like, sorry. He's like, I'm not working with a kid. And even though I was recommended and all that shit, so like for me, that like I remember all these things. I remember how much time I put into it, how much effort I put into trying to do the best for someone. And then if they don't go with me, seeing what they do choose because of like these like preconceived notions, and then it's trash. And then it's just like, see, that's what you get, you know? So I'm always just like, you're worth everything that someone pays for you.
Right.
All the time, if not more.
And how rewarding, and this is so Mean Girls, but how rewarding is it when you see what they actually release and you're like, okay. So and then you're kind of relieved that you didn't get it, because you're like, so that's what you wanted? That's not, I never would have went there.
I want to be able to go to them and smack them in the back of the head. Just feel like, like you dumbass.
Like a Sicilian mother.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Maybe that's where I get it from. Okay, so one thing I wanted to bring up, and this is why I like you guys. So we had never met in person up until we did the Dribble New York event.
Right.
And it was I forget everyone who spoke, and they had like workshops and shit like that, but like Danielle Evans did something, and then you guys went, and then it was me and then David Carson at the end, which was a trip.
He's hilarious.
He's crazy. But it was really cool to be able to do that with someone like him, you know?
Yeah. Very cool.
And I watched you guys again, I'm a very competitive person. And Brent knows this. We talk shit about everybody all the time. So I was waiting for you guys to get up, and I was just like, all right, let's see what you got. And you guys were really, really good.
I remember getting off stage and being like, fuck, John Contino's here.
Yeah.
He was watching. I was like, he saw that? Oh, gosh.
No, you guys were good. And I thought, so I always say that graphic designers should never be on stage, because there's nothing worse than watching a graphic designer give a presentation at a conference. It's literally the worst thing that could possibly happen. And you guys got up there, and you guys were doing like crowd work, and like I forget which one of you guys went into the crowd, and the other one was on stage like this one, ask it. You were getting the crowd involved and shit, and I was like, this is like legit entertainment. And you guys like did a really good job. And then I was just like, actually, you said you guys said something about, you had like a joke about like not getting mugged or something in New York, or like calling your mom or something. And then from the side of the stage, I was like, not yet. And then like not realizing that you guys weren't going to know that's me that said that, I felt like that was like a weird thing to say, because you were probably nervous that
like
someone was going to wait outside for you.
It's like scary warning from the mugger. Like, who's that swarthy Italian man? Like, shadows.
I thought for sure you, like, after I said that, I was like, oh fuck, they're going to like be nervous to leave now.
That's so funny. No, having grown up in New York and the South, where that is also, we were taught that, criticism and, all that is love languages.
Yes, totally.
Right. But
our talks are always like, we have to distract them from the fact that we don't really know anything that's worth talking about.
It's not like we're inventing the wheel. I feel like there's some talks where you're like, this is fascinating. Like this person like invented something or, discovered a cure for this or whatever. Those talks are fascinating because they've done something new and broken ground. But it's like, we're kind of just telling advice that someone told us, but we're trying to make it interesting. So we just think of it as like 30 minutes of like some jokes.
But do you really think that you don't know anything?
No, I think we know stuff. And I actually get really annoyed when you ask somebody like, hey, how'd you get to where you are? And they're like, I don't know. That makes me annoyed.
Yeah.
I'm like, you do know.
There's a way that people, I think we just have I don't know. We don't want to go up on the stage like, this is how you do it. Like coming from two people, like the know-it-all kind of shit,
Right. But like on the flip side, you want to be like, what gives you the right to be on stage talking to people then?
That's true.
Yeah. See, that's why I think there's, as much as like people say like, I don't know, you have to earn your dues, of course,
Mm-hmm.
but I think everybody knows something. And then there's a fine line between everyone knows something and everybody thinking they know everything. It's such a tough thing because I think like no matter who you are, you probably have something that you can teach somebody else. Right. And that's interesting. And that's how we actually started ending up writing a book, which we never thought we would do. And I'm sure same with you. Like you didn't think you wanted to write a course, but people kept asking you like, how did you get to where you are?
Right.
And you realize that you know more than you think.
Right.
And so it's like, I really hate when you like meet someone that you really admire and you're trying to get them to like, hey, like, how did you work with this kind of clientele? Or how did you start billing this much? And they're like, they just kind of like downplay it because you have to be retrospective a little bit and start noticing like what steps are leading towards positive reactions and what steps are like leading nowhere.
There's also like someone who knows a lot and has been through a lot will tell you everything that they've been through. Like someone who's really been through the shit will talk about it and it won't come across as condescending. Someone who thinks that they've been through the shit but really haven't will sound like they're talking down to you.
Right.
And that to me is the majority of the design industry, I think. It's just like all these people who are like spoon-fed shit and then,
Right. That's the hardest thing is like what feels new or what's like an exciting way to present this. I feel like, and I don't get me wrong, like I love design conferences because it's how I met people like you. And we've actually made so many lifelong friends from design conferences. Right. And like just remembering my first one, I used to make fun of them before I went to them because I was like, oh, that's just do the work. It's a job. Like that's kind of my mentality. Right. And then I went and I was like, I am so inspired. And it is interesting to compare like life stories and like process and all that stuff. I think it's why I like conferences like First Round, Brand New puts it on. And it's where somebody actually walks through like a first round proof that got a client to say yes to something. Like that is fascinating.
Well, that's helpful. It's useful. It's not a portfolio review where you sit up there and just listen to someone spew garbage for an hour.
I guess that's the interesting thing is like just because like you do great work doesn't mean you actually know how to quantify like how to help others maybe get to where you are.
Right. Yeah, right. Exactly. Or to even explain what the hell you did. Like some people are just so up their own ass that you're just like, why? Like I'll never forget WMC Cleveland in like 2013, watching someone on stage. I forget what point it was, but it was so painful. I turned to someone next to me. I was just like, if I sound like that, I put a fucking bullet in my head when I walk off stage. Like, I don't want to be that person. Like, I don't want to be up there just like, like that shit. You know what I mean? Right. It's just, and then to be able to see you guys do it. Like, there's very few people that I think are able to get on the stage and actually be interesting. Like, you guys were at MLC in Atlanta.
So fun.
And a good portion of the people who speak at MLC are usually pretty good. I think that's because there is a lot less of ego in sports design, because sports design, like people think that sports design is so impressive when you're not involved with sports design. And then when you're involved with sports design, you feel like you're just like a beaten dog.
Right. That was so fascinating. That was the most fascinating part about that conference is me going up to people being like, you must have the coolest job. And then they told me their jobs. And I was like, how are you standing? You must be exhausted. Right. They work harder than anybody else. I couldn't believe it. Like they're going to every game, especially baseball. I was like, you guys deserve a trophy.
Well, and they do. I mean, sometimes they'll get a ring at the end of the year, but it's rare. You know?
I know, like we know the Lakers design team, and they do. First of all, they do awesome work. Like their work is so cool. It's like where it used to be and where it is now. I just think is so awesome. But they got rings. That is so crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty. Chris from MLC, when he got the Astros ring from when they won in 2017 illegally, he sent me. he sent me an Astros like replica ring and a Yankees one also. So
that's hilarious.
I got the garbage one in a box somewhere, and then I got the Yankees one nice over there.
Oh my god, yeah, so funny.
But it's cool that everybody gets that. You know, like there's a little bit of a perk, but like when you work in that part of the industry, I mean, you're taken advantage of like over and over and over again. And there's so many people that there's such a, for something that's such a visual, you know, everyone's got a jacket, a hat, a t-shirt or whatever. And the people who are making that shit get paid so little and get treated like fucking slaves sometimes, you know. It's just like, well, you got to work all day Saturday night, Sunday morning, Sunday night, and then be ready on Monday morning to start over again. And it's just like, there's no life.
Right. That's tough. And it's like, I'm sure that's why you must have to just love like the team and the people that you're working with, because like otherwise it just wouldn't make any sense. But I mean, there has to be perks, but yeah, that's wild. I think that's what's so interesting about like the outside looking into anything. That's what I started realizing this year was like a lot of those industries that seem really cool to work in, you're like, this is your budget. This is what goes standard in this industry for this thing.
Right.
And so it's like finding those industries where it's like they appreciate design. They don't mind paying for it if you find the right clients, you know, like that kind of thing. That's been interesting in the last few years for us.
So my question to you guys is, within the design industry, being that I like to think that there's a group of people like us where I think we're a little bit more, and it's so weird to like say this, but I feel like we're more authentic than a lot of other people. And I don't feel bad saying it because I pride myself on like telling the truth and like being myself and all that kind of shit. What do you guys feel is kind of like the good and the bad of our industry? And like, what is the stuff that kind of you feel proud to be a part of? And then the other stuff where you're just like, I can't believe that these people like call themselves the same thing that I call myself.
Oh man, interesting.
I feel like we're on a whole text thread with some friends about some stuff like this, but I can't. It's like it's always usually just stupid stuff, you know, just like really stupid stuff.
But you know what? Like when you see some stuff that really gets under your skin, you're like, like I actually work for this, you know, like and it could just be me too, because I take everything personally, and Brent knows because he does too, and he's a psychopath. So it's like the two of us in an echo chamber doesn't work out well because it's just like chaos. You know,
you just like stir each other up, stone each other up. Wait, so what are yours? Tell me yours.
Yeah, it's weird. I don't,
because I need to start thinking about mine.
You know, I find it so interesting that you guys don't have something at the ready. Like for me, like if I were to ask Brent, like what bothers you about design, he would be like, well, this, but it could just be us.
I have one.
What is it? Tell me.
I have one. I know so many people who have, they've confided in me about having trouble consistently maintaining a living, you know, being a freelancer. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, and I'll try and help, you know, and, but then they'll teach a course on how to freelance. And I think that just kills me. No, but it's just like, it kills me because I'm like, you couldn't make money actually doing it, but now you're going to make money pretending to tell other people how to do it, but you couldn't do it.
See, but that's the problem.
I just think it's misleading. And it's like, I'm not going to call them out or anything because it's like, they have to make a living. And if they can make it doing it that way, you know, then I don't want to, you know, shit on them. But at the same time, I'm just like, but wait, you couldn't figure it out.
See, that's what blows my mind too. But then I think, isn't that like what a director is? They can't act, but they know how to tell you what's wrong with what you're doing. So then I start to think, am I just being really critical? And am I just jealous that they figured out a way to make money? You know what I mean?
Man, it's just, there is a fine line between like envy and frustration. And
right. That's where I'm always like, am I just jealous because I didn't think of it first? Or because like, to me, it feels like it's not, to me, I feel like I have this blue collar chip on my shoulder where it's like, you have to do the work. You have to like, it's like, it's this weird like Kentucky thing.
Well, our dad he was in construction. You said yours was a contractor. I heard in a previous, So we were 7, like walking around a job site, picking up nails for him and stuff, like loose nails. So it's just like, I think there's always just this mentality of like, okay, you want that? Go do it. Go make it. Like, just go figure it out,
Yeah. Me too.
And
it's, oh man, it's that kind of blue collar mentality I think is so important in doing what we do, because I feel like there are so many people who literally go to an art school that costs $50,000 a year and then get an internship at some agency or whatever easily because they went to that art school that they paid to go to, and then they get a job at that agency, and then if they want to be independent, they just leave because they have all their friends at the agency that'll give them work. And I would always look at that and just be so mad at it. But at the same time, just being like, well, if I did that, then would I be, it's just because someone took a different route to the same path. Like, do you get mad, or is it just kind of like that kind of blue collar mentality of just like, I had to do this the hard way,
Right.
But I think that's what it is.
I think I'm just mad that I didn't get. But then I wonder. Sometimes I think about it. Sometimes I'm like, what would it be like to like quit Hoodz and work for somebody else? Like, I kind of want to just see what it's like. I feel like I've never had a real job, like a proper one. Yeah. Like I maxed out at $12 an hour at my first design job. Like that was my job. So it's hard for me when people come in and they're like, I'm only making this at my job and I really don't think it's enough. And I'm like, you're only 1 year out of school? Okay. It's hard for me because I can't relate, and it's like, but of course, if they want to live in New York or if they want to live wherever, that is too low for them,
Yeah.
But I'm just keep thinking back to my thing of like, where I'm like, sometimes it's just, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah.
You're not going to like it. You're not going to like it. You don't want to work for somebody else.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Right.
I think
that's horrible.
I don't think I'm turning
not
back
good.
after all this.
Brent knows. Oh man, that's hilarious.
I feel like if I had a therapist, they would be.
Brent knows, where you talk shit on all the shit you've had to endure under the nose note.
Well, let me tell you something. I never say anything too delicate around Brent under the circumstance that he gets disgruntled and goes out and tries to fucking take me down. Like, you can ask him, because Brent keeps files on everybody. Ask him how deep my file is.
Oh, shit.
I got nothing on John.
See,
I feel like I can't. If I had a therapist, they'd be telling me not to have these conversations because I'm so toxic. You guys are talking about it, and I'm just like thinking about people I hate.
You're toxic. That's incredible.
Brent, I'm telling you, you would do well on TikTok. It's basically, it sounds like it's mostly just toxic. Like, yeah, it's what it is.
I would love to see
you go on there and rant.
Yeah, Brent is going to be the next TikTok star.
You just have to like comment on daily things that annoy you, and then that we can all relate to.
I think,
like when you leave your laundry wet in the dryer and it's 11 o'clock at night.
No, he's going to turn everybody off real fast.
Yeah. No, I'm going to reel them in with like a few things that people like are like, yeah. And then it's going to get crazier and crazier. And but people are along the ride.
And then you're just going to...
I'm still on board with this? This is taking a dark turn.
Yeah, I don't know.
He's just going to start praising the Unabomber after a certain amount of time. You're like, whoa. Wait a second. Hold on.
Uh-oh. Oh my gosh. I constantly think about that though. It's like, what from my past is going to come back to haunt me? Something, because you know how like people...
Some dipshit thing you did when you were just like trying to be,
I'm just like...
I mean, I've done so many dipshit things in my life. It's just like one of these things is going to bring me down.
I just think back at like when I used to be so like I couldn't afford even fonts, which is so dumb to say because it's like, but they're only like $40. But at the time it felt like that was like really breaking the bank.
Yeah.
And so I would just like blow them up as big as I could and screenshot each letter and then live trace it. And I'm like,
You used to do that?
Hey, you got to get shit done. You find ways to get shit done. You get shit done.
And sometimes I still do that because it's like you want to present it to the client, but you don't know if they're going to approve it. It's like you don't want to buy this, especially some of the fonts are expensive these days.
No kidding.
Like my fonts are cheap, but some of these fonts are like $400 a pop,
Right.
So it's like, but I seriously sometimes wake up in the middle of the night and I'm like, did I buy the license? You know, like, you know what I mean? Like, I have these moments of like, that's what's going to be the thing that like I forgot to do.
Yeah, but it's like, it's so not a big deal. Like, if you woke up to an email that said, guess what, the client is getting sued for $2.5 million and it's on you, that's something to worry about. But like, if you forget the license, you get up in the morning, you eat your breakfast, and then you go buy the license and everything's fine.
Dude, our friend's going through something like that right now, just with like legalities of like a client not buying the proper font license for the design he created for them. And they're trying to include him on the lawsuit so that he's also liable. And it's like, I'm like, and we were just talking, I'm like, what have you been up to? He's like, oh, just like the past year, this thing. And I'm like, how are you not completely stressed out? But, you know, I guess when you get at a certain point in your career, you kind of know like this won't go anywhere, but it's just going to stress me out for like a year.
Do you guys have that shit in your contract where it's just like, to a certain point, I am not responsible for what happens to you?
Yeah, to a certain extent. It's like best efforts basis, like, you know, we will do our best to make sure this is not, you know, infringing on anyone's whatever. But it's pretty much the idea that like, we'll do our best to obviously make sure it doesn't. But, you know, it's like two people came up with calculus at the same time in different areas, you know, or algebra. Or something like that, you know. It's like, everything's been done before. It kind of trips me out how easy it is to accidentally make something very similar to someone else. Even if you Google reverse image search stuff, it's like, it's bound to happen maybe once or twice.
Right.
Like kind of.
Right. And it happens. It's, I mean, especially if you're around for a long time doing it, like you're bound to kind of like step on somebody's toes or independently come up with the same idea at the same time.
Right.
It just happens. Like not everything can be the utmost unique at all times. There's going to be a point where you cross paths with somebody. You know,
that's why I
rip
always
yourself
try.
Or rip yourself off. Yeah, right. Exactly.
Because I mean, I'm sure you get this all the time, but people send us a lot like rips of our designs or like something that's so close to our designs. I'm sure you get that too.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I always just try to give people the benefit of the doubt. It's like sometimes you know they saw it, but sometimes it's like, I don't know. Is it that unique? Am I that like anybody could have come up with something similar? You know.
I'm going to ask you guys this. This will be the last one, and then I'll let you guys go. So thanks for hanging with us. We talked for a while. Do you have, and you can make this quick if you want, do you guys have a way when you're done with a project or while you're doing a project, how do you foolproof it? How do you know that when you give it off to the client that you're confident that you feel like it's going to be accepted well? Do you have a test that you guys do to just be like, this is it, we're going to run this test. If it passes this test, we're happy with passing it on to the client?
Not so much a test. We have a first proof process called the discovery, which is pretty much like the research round. And we take them through and we align on their goals and all that. I'm sure you do something like that. Like, you know, we just restate to them everything that they need and want out of it and define the terms for success, do the mood board. And that's probably been the most like groundbreaking thing, you know, as far as getting an approval and a yes on a proof that has no design in it so that they're already in a good mind frame and they're already like, they've already bought into the process and they're already happy and excited so that the first proof they see is not really the first proof they see, if that makes sense.
Well,
but he's saying at the end, like when you're about to launch.
Like
when you're about to launch?
Yeah, like forget about that process. I'm saying like when you guys are done and you, or like while you're working or when you're finished, when you hand off a project to a client, whether it's a logo or campaign or a product or whatever it is, if they're happy, that's great. That's one thing. But what about everyone else? How do you kind of foolproof that to know that what you're giving them is just like, this is going to pass like the public test?
You never know. I can't think about that. If I think about that, it stresses me. Yeah, I know. No. In fact, I'm usually like, some people will probably hate this. I think that actually makes me feel better when I'm like, some people won't want this. Right. And I have to go in knowing that. Because when I go in being like, I need this to be on brand new and I need Armin to like it. Then I know that I'm going to just like go down a rabbit hole and never recover. You know what I mean? So
I've actually, the toughest part is like now with like all the bigger brands, like they want to do a big brand launch and like a big like wow moment. So it's like, it really is like make or break it feels like these days. Whereas before you could kind of like do a soft rollout and people would be like, whoa, the website's new and the logo's new and like it looks pretty good. Like they're kind of like eased into it.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, wham, what do you think? Love it or hate it? It's like, it's just good. It works.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah. So you guys are saying basically you ignore it and hope that you bury your head in the sand afterwards. And you're like, it's done. It's done.
We expect everyone to hate it, and then we're just happy when a few people like it.
We always do the internet troll test where we'll do it and we'll be like, how can someone rip this to shreds?
Oh, I love that.
Right. Well, obviously you look for private parts. I mean, so that's one thing that no matter what you do. And sometimes you just have to ignore them. You're like, I like the design. We're leaving the boobs in.
I have missed that so many times. So many times. The amount of times that someone's been like, oh, that kind of looks like this body part. And I'm like, oh, fuck. I didn't think about that.
Yeah. That's hilarious. Oh my gosh.
Wait, so you guys just have a session where you're just mean girls and you just see how mean you can be, how far you can razz your own design?
All the time. All the time.
I love that.
As we're going through the process, and it doesn't matter if it's Brent or someone else that we work with or whatever, it's always just like, how would an asshole on the internet rip this apart? And how do we keep them from doing that? That is like my number one mindset, because I know that what we give the client is going to be great. I'm not worried about that. I know that I'm going to read them well. I know that we're going to do good work and they're going to be happy with it. But how do you account for the asshole on the internet? And that's always the thought process of just like, how to...
You've got an insider with Brent. Sorry, he's like dropping her in. I'm so sorry. I'm just kidding.
And you're a full-on sociopath. So it's like, you get the kind of insights that most of us...
Brent, are we close enough for me to be this mean to you yet? I'm
sorry. Yeah, for sure.
I absolutely love that you called him a sociopath.
I just heard you say it so many times. I learned it from you.
Yeah, I learned it from watching you. Do you guys? Thank you guys for being here. I appreciate it. This was a fun conversation. Do you guys want to promo anything or fucking sell something that I'm about to sell?
We'll give you 10% off.
I'm actually going to make a discount code that's called John Contino, and it will be 10% off.
God damn it. Well, how do you get to it?
Okay, so it's courses.hoodspdesign.com, and it's got tons of testimonials and a preview of all the lessons and all that kind of stuff. And you can watch one lesson for free. And honestly, it is super helpful. The best part is the Slack channel, and it's like where we can all kind of like talk and brainstorm together. It's pretty cool.
That sounds good. So we have, if you're on the video YouTube site, you can see at Hoodz Design. Jen, you have a private Instagram account, is that right?
I don't even use it anymore. I know. I was just thinking I should just open it up and just post weird, like stupid shit. Yeah.
You know,
turn it into.
I follow Amy and I follow the studio, obviously. And then I was looking to make sure I was spelling yours right. And I was like, I don't follow Jen. And then I was like, oh, it's private. And I was like, kind of weird. And then I was like,
which made you wonder what was in there, right?
I didn't want to pry.
Yeah. To be honest, I was trying to take it back to just people that I actually know. And then it was so exhausting going through and trying to remember who I knew from how.
What a first world problem. It was so exhausting.
Just because like everyone that's gotten married and I couldn't remember how I knew people or what people's real names were and not their handles. I just gave up. So I need to just like open it back up.
Listen, if I can tell you anything, it's this. Don't care about other people. That's all.
Thank you.
Just don't care about other people.
I did. I needed it.
Ask Brent. Brent doesn't care about a single human being. Not one.
He's doing just fine.
Yeah. Brent, do you want to leave us with any words of wisdom?
No.
You've said so much that's of so much value in this episode. Brent is always so scared we've had what, like 2 guests? We had Joe DiMaggio.
We gave him 0% space to talk in his defense.
Yeah. We kind of edged him out.
Listen, I mean,
I'm sorry, Brent.
If he wants to get somewhere in this world, he's got to figure out how to get into a conversation. Right?
You know what's hilarious? This is a perfect metaphor for trying to say or matter to anyone when you're in a conversation with 2 people from the extreme coasts who think they fucking rule the universe. And someone from Middle America is just like, but I matter as well.
It's accurate. That's very accurate. Well, all right. Thank you guys for having for having me. Thanks for having me on your podcast, guys. Wait, hold on. I talked to Neri yesterday, and he said he did your show. What is your show?
Tell Neri. This is a call out to Neri. We interviewed him just for our YouTube channel, just for fun, because I'm like, everyone must want to know what you are thinking and know.
Yeah.
And he's like so under the radar. He's like secret agent.
Super under the radar. But
yeah, I'm like, let's get some of his secrets out here.
I'm gonna talk to Neri at another time. He's gonna come on as a guest. We're gonna get all that. We're gonna air all out the dirty laundry and all that stuff. But what is you on the YouTube channel? It's not a podcast, right? Do you guys do it weekly? No. Why do I not know about this?
It's just randomly. Like if we want to share, if I'm like finally able to design something where I can like share our process, or just like an excuse to like live stream and hang out. And like if I have a friend who I'm like, you should be sharing info. Let's just do like a quick like.
That's cool.
To be honest, we haven't branded it as anything yet because we're afraid we won't be able to like keep going and do it consistently.
That's a good call.
So we just like, here's just this random video that we might keep doing.
I've seen like one or two of them, but I thought that they were for something specific. I didn't realize when he told me that. I was like, what the fuck? Like what? How do I not know about this?
It's just like it's just random perchance happenings.
Oh, very good. Okay, well guys, go check out Hoodz Design. And what's your website again?
www.hoodz.design.com.
You don't have to say www.
Wait, how many W's?
My favorite thing about old people is they go www. For some reason, old people can never add the third W. Never.
That's hilarious. Okay, for the next call that we have, I want to talk about why they call it BW3s when there's not
Buffalo Wild Wings?
W's and BW3s, Buffalo Wild Wings. Why do they call it BW3s?
She ruined the ending.
I don't know what
goodbye, everyone.
I'll end it right there. Thanks.
Stay up! A frozen break that paralyzed the truth! Melted till the soul's not leaking through!